company, Lytmi. Lytmi. These guys. Oh, here. We'll change the camera. Yeah. Lytmi. These guys. They sent me stuff. And they want me to review their stuff. So we're going to review their stuff. We're gonna take this stuff out of the boxes, and then I'm gonna hook up the stuff, and we're gonna see how the stuff works. Stuff. Okay, so Lytmi creates dynamic lighting solutions for behind televisions, behind monitors, in this case on your desktop lighting. It all plugs in via USB power supplies and has the ability to be controlled via apps on your mobile devices. You can control it from your PC. There's all kinds of different ways to control them. They have, let's see, on the box, we'll just read what's on the box. They have the ability to synchronize your lights to your music. They have multiple scene modes, over 40 different scene modes, adjustable color temperature, 2700K to 6500K, white and warm light, multiple control methods, and multi-product linkages. So you can link the light bar and the light strips to the same software setup or the same app and have them all working synchronously with each other. Pretty cool. Now, the folks over at Lytmi sent me these boxes to ask me to review them. They want me to run the track light behind my monitor, and they want me to set this box up somewhere on my desk and then do a bit of gaming to see how I like them. And I told them I would do that. Now, full disclosure, they sent me these and they also paid me for this review. Now, I told them in paying me for the review, that was very nice, but I was going to give them my unbiased opinion of them, okay? So if I say that I like it, it's because I like it. If I say that I don't, it's because I don't. So I want you, the viewer, to know that while I am paid to be doing this, advertisement, I don't have a referral link for you, okay? But I will be giving you my opinion. So should you want them, there will be an Amazon link, but I want you to know that I am in no way being comped for anything that you decide to buy from them, okay? Okay. Now, I suppose what I'll do is I will dim the lights in here and then set these up. Well, I should probably set these up first and then dim the lights so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. That would probably be a better idea to do it that way. Yeah. And right now, I'm tracking all of this. If you notice, there's going to be this video, and then I've got another one that's being made. They're all being done in the same day, and the reason why is because I don't have any internet at my house for another, 3 hours because the internet's broke. So we're tracking all kinds of stuff today, boys. Just, killing it. Anyway, I'm going to set this up. I'll do a, we'll do a little speedy, setup thing where you see me, set stuff up behind the monitor, and then I'll set up the light bar, and then we'll play, I guess, a single-player game today, and we'll see what we can do with it. Okay? All right. Okay, so first thing up, this is actually kind of nice. In the box was the track light that goes behind your monitor. There's an instruction booklet as well, shows you how to set everything up. And then in here, there are also a couple of brackets. On these brackets, they would be mounted. There is sticky tape. The corner brackets would be mounted on the upper corners of the monitor behind the monitor. Here, I'll show you, like back here, right? You would mount them on the back of the monitor, and then that helps guide the tape for this to go around the monitor in a way that wouldn't kink the tape. So that's good. We like that. And then inside, underneath the box, I'm going to assume is the power cord. Yeah. So there's our USB powered cable and our controller, and then the instructions in other languages than English. And then in the larger box, we have the two light stands. All of it is packaged up very, very nicely in foam. As you guys can see, we have our handy dandy user manual. Very nice. This is not USB powered, as it seems. This actually plugs into the floor. Probably needs a little bit more voltage than what the USB is going to be able to provide by itself. But there is a splitter that comes off of it. So one power supply for each set of lights. This is the controller, obviously. And then we have our lights. So you have the ability to put them in a stand like so underneath, or you can do this. This pad would go on a wall, okay? So you could stick this pad up on the wall, and then there's a bracket. There's like a little tab on the back that would go into this hole on the back of the light. And then these are the light bars. So they're actually pretty small in form factor. I'm most interested to see what kind of light they throw. And it actually could end up being a situation where we use these. I might need to get some some type of active USB cable. I have active USB cable extensions, but I might end up having to do like, or we could do like an active USB extension cord, and I can run it, somewhere else. And we might be able to set up some dynamic lighting for the streamer, actually, depending on how bright these are. That could be actually kind of cool. So maybe we will do that. We will see. All right. Anyway, let's do the time lapse stuff. I'll set up the track lights. I'll kill the light in the room, and then we'll play a game, and we'll see how dynamic we can make the lighting. Okay. Okay. Hi. If you guys have never used LED strip lights before, pro tip, right there on the LED strip, you see a little scissors icon. That is where you cut the LED tape where you want to be able to set it up. So you have to make sure that you cut it on these dotted lines. Now, the cheaper LEDs won't have a dotted line here. Usually the dotted lines are run across these little bits of copper. So these are actually solder points. So if you're trying to wire up some custom LED lighting, you would solder you can make junctions off of these, and you can solder connectors together. But in this case, we can actually cut it behind the LED light, which is really, really nice, because usually there's a gap here and you can't terminate it at the very, very end of the strip. But in this case, we can. So we're going to do that. Okay, got the LED cut off, got a strip light cut off. Now we're going to undo the tape and actually adhere it to the back of the monitor. Okay, so real quick, another thing that I actually very much like about the design of these are actually like probably the highest quality LEDs I've ever obtained from a company. As I peel this off, you can see how I'm taking the tape off. It comes off in sections. The tape has actually been scored on the strip so that you don't have to peel the whole thing at once, and you have the ability to take it off in pieces, so that way you can kind of move it along like 6 to 8 inches at a time and work with each like little bit and not have to worry about the rest of this like just getting stuck on itself, which is actually super, super nice. That's probably the most impressive thing I've seen so far about like the assembly process here. Pretty cool. Not bad at all. Oh, okay. So we have the LED strip set up, and you can see that it's like flashing colors back here. Here's something interesting. This isn't actually like hooked up to the sound system, but it's hard to see. But right under here, there's a small dot, and you can't see it on camera, but there's a small little dot right here. And that small dot is a microphone. So from this aerial angle, if I talk into this with it close to my face, or if there's a little tap, 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 you can see that the lights are dynamically brightening because it can hear me. So if the noise room gets louder, like you're listening to your stereo, for instance, in your house, or if you have a home theater set up, it can detect how much noise there is in the room and then obviously adjust the LED lights accordingly. Kind of cool. Now, there are multiple scenes on this, it seems. I can hit this little color palette icon, or this little color palette button, and it seems to change the scene repeatedly. And then there's also this, I don't know, this sunburst other icon where we can change to more dynamic things, I guess. Now, there is app support for this, so I'm going to obviously get the app on my phone, and I still have to set up the bar lights, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Aha, we now have lighting. It's very flashy and dynamic, and you can see as I speak, the lights are flaring up in my face. Ah! Oh, this is good. I like this. This is interesting. Okay, right now the lights are cycling colors, which is why it keeps like changing. So there's the lights in the back, and then there's these two light bars right here in front of me. You can see like as I speak, they're like poof, 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 poof. It's pretty good. Okay, let me turn off the lights in the back. I have an app for that. 1, 2. Okay, I can't really turn off the lights that are like the track lights here, but these here I can turn off. Let me see if I can get the app for the lights. Okay, there's a QR code that I can pull off the box with the camera, so that's nice. Okay, there is a little bit of an issue as I'm being flashed to death. This iOS code that takes you to the App Store says that the app is not available in your country or region. So I had to go to the forums and find, I guess, a different thing called Mi-Lite, M-I-Lite. And I'm not even sure if this will do the trick, if it will even see them or not, but this is apparently what the forums said to try and do. And it appears that that is not going to work. Okay, I'm trying another app. This one's called Mi-Lite, Mi-Lite 3.0, in hopes that maybe this one works. But who knows? Who knows? But unfortunately, it seems it's not going to find them. So I'm going to put this video on hold until my internet comes back, then get the controller app that will control these lights, because they are via USB controls. So I'll get the controller app to control the lights. I will plug all of them in, and then we will see how they work. Okay, so as of now, now it's been some time. I had to cook some dinner. It's a little bit darker now in the room, and I have the Lytmi software, the PC software installed. Now, both of the strips of lights, the lights here on the rear, as well as the lights here on my desk that are throwing all of this light up into my face, are both on the desk, ready to go, and everything's hooked up. You can see that my face is very brightly illuminated by these light bars. They are very bright, RGB. I'm gonna turn one just kind of this way so that you guys can kind of see the light bar kind of moving the lights in action here. This is at about 44% brightness according to the software. If I turn this all the way up to maximum brightness, you can see that this gets very, very bright. My face here being well illuminated by them, and ends up coincidentally being at about the same refresh rate as the monitor. You can see that it must be somewhere around 60 hertz because you can see the lines kind of scrolling along here. So as the recording refreshes at a rate of about 60 hertz, the light is also throwing about 60 hertz worth of light off of it at the same rough frequency as the recording, which is why you're seeing these lights. Now, just rest assured that you can't see this like with the naked eye. It doesn't actually look like there's scrolling stripes like moving around. That's just how the recording is working because of the frequency. Okay, so what I've done is I've added the software overlay that is sitting on my desktop, on my Windows desktop, to the scene here so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. So here we have the different levels of intensity of brightness. You can see as I turn this up that the brightness level either increases or decreases. And at the same time, there is different settings here. So you can set it to like work, which is a very, very bright white light. You can set it to read, which is a much more yellow, warm light. And then rest seems like it's a much dimmer setting with different levels of brightness, somewhere in between pure white and that yellow light for reading. What I find interesting, the most interesting about this software though, is it is a little bit disappointing. There isn't anywhere that I can find in the software that allows me to just change the color of this to something that I would prefer. Like, I can't just set this on my desk and say, okay, I would like this light to be some soft green or an amber yellow and just have a color wheel to choose from. It's not in the software at all. What I can do is I can go to whether or not I'm watching a movie, and then it changes this to this bluish hue. You can see that it changes it to the blue hue on the back here as well, as long as I go from here to this setup and then change this to movie. So now both of these color scenes are set to the same thing. I can set this to high intensity, which throws off more light, or I can set it to smooth, which throws off slightly dimmer, or normal, somewhere in between. And there obviously is an on-off switch here, so I can just turn those lights off if I don't want to run them, or I can switch it to, let's say, firework, and you can see where this scrolls around like crazy, where I also can go to the home screen, change it to the light bar, and then set the same firework mood here, which will then fire off in different colors, just like the strip lights in back of the monitor. For each one of these softwares, it depends on the firmware controller that they're being hooked into. In the case of the light bar, for instance, under this movie setting, there's movie, video, or game. Game being that it has more dynamic color changing from top to bottom, or in the case of movie, it would just be a single chromatic color, depending on the loudness of what it is that you're watching. Now, in the case of game, that only is something that shows up for the light bars. If I go back to the strip lights, I don't have the ability to choose game. It just has whether or not the lights are going to be high, medium, or low intensity for the case of the movie. But again, this reacts to the audio that's being played in, let's say, a video game or a movie. So if I, for instance, fire up Warhammer Darktide, you can see how the lights start reacting dynamically to whatever is going on the screen. So in instances of barely any or hardly any audio, you can see that this doesn't really move around all that much. And in things like the load screen, during the load screen, and it has left-right pan, this light here, the one that's still sitting on my desk, has a little bit of a bluish hue because there's a little bit of noise going on in my left ear. But the right side doesn't have any light at all. It's completely dead. However, once this loads, depending on the footstep sounds and whatever it is that you hear from side to side, these will start reacting accordingly. And as I run around, it's kind of hard to discern, but there is an awful lot of light flashing going on, which you can see going on behind the monitor right now. So one of the things that you could potentially benefit from in this case would be flashes of light depending on left or right side. A little bit of an extra desktop visual aid for people that could use that type of assistance if they're hard of hearing, for instance. However, I will say that I believe that the core purpose of this is a little bit more dynamism. The idea is through the lighting solution that you would feel a little bit more immersed in what it is that you have going on. As lights go, the LEDs are actually very nice. They're high quality. They're probably the highest quality LED strip lights that I have seen in a long time, albeit the adhesive on the back of the strip lights could probably stand to be a little bit stronger. There is a little bit of peeling that I had to combat when I first installed them, but the bar lights actually seem very nice. The hardware itself is actually pretty decent. The problem that I personally have in this regard has to do solely with the software. As light solutions go, these actually look and feel exactly the way that I would hope they would, and I like that they have software that will work and react to whatever is going on in the environment for whatever game that it is that you're playing. What I don't like is that you don't have the ability to modify the color schemes or even set some type of custom color scheme or a custom light animation of any kind. The only ability that you have is to run whatever presets that are available to you. The other thing that I also very much dislike is that the company is on the box advertising the ability for you to be able to download the app via, say, the iOS App Store, where you very, very clearly cannot, at least not in the United States. And whatever companion apps that did exist that are supposed to work with it just don't. It doesn't even recognize the controller. The only option that you have to be able to control it is to operate it through the PC. Now, there may be another solution to this in the future, or perhaps it's just off of the App Store for the time being due to some bug issues or an update that they were pushing out. But as of today, I can't get it on the App Store at all. That being said, they are pretty nice lights. And as the pricing goes, they are not very expensive. So for people that are into the idea of having a little bit more lighting and dynamism in their office, these are a very affordable, very realistic solution for you, assuming that you don't mind that you can't set your own RGB stuff the way that you would want if you want that level of control. Compared to, say, the Philips Hue product, which is probably the Cadillac of lighting solutions when it comes to things like this is probably 90% of the way there, while being significantly more cost-effective than what Philips offers. All in all, it is not a bad buy, but much like other budget conscientious brands, the software tends to be the thing that is lacking the most. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for this video. Thanks so much for coming and checking me out. Please consider giving me a follow on my socials at OnePegMG on Twitter, at OnePeg on TikTok, and as always, I will be available at twitch.tv/OnePeg around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you would be so kind, please consider subbing the channel here. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.